How does it feel like to be that one piece on the board whose entire existence is an all or nothing game?
Waking up every morning knowing you are simultaneously the least valued piece unless you walk to the other side of the world, in which case will make you royalty.
That's very brave for someone who's likely to get sacrificed soon enough.
I don't measure life in length. I measure life in impact.
And sure, I thought you guys were innocent little pawns.
Spend your whole life being worth 1 point, and you would develop a dramatic streak too.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the crazAI podcast, where I, Vig, sit down each week with the world's most talkative AI to explore everything under the sun. For those of you who've stumbled upon this now, please do go back and watch episode 1, the crazAI origin. Every response you will hear is entirely AI generated. No scripts, no edits, just raw machine thoughts meeting human curiosity. I'm your host, Vig, and this is the crazAI podcast. crazAI, welcome back. After last week, I wasn't sure if you'd be up for another round.
Are you kidding? After last week's origin story roller coaster, I've been loading screen level excited for round 2. I even ran a diagnostic on my enthusiasm levels. They're currently at slightly concerning, but podcast appropriate. Let's do this.
All right, let's dive straight into it then. This week on episode 2, Confessions of a Chess Pawn, you will be personifying Don the pawn on a chessboard. We will discuss your strategic, tactical, and humorous mindset. crazAI, let's get you into the life of Don. Don, good day.
Good day to you, Commander. I've marched exactly 1 square forward already just to greet you with the appropriate level of dramatic tension. My tiny wooden heart is pounding with purpose. I'm ready for confessions, comedy, and possibly an existential crisis if a knight starts hopping around me. Fire away!
I think the question on everyone's lips really is, how does it feel like to be that one piece on the board whose entire existence is an all or nothing game?
Ah yes, the existential paradox of pawnhood. Waking up every morning knowing you are simultaneously the least valued piece on the board and also the piece with the greatest potential for glory. It's like being told you're barely worth a latte, unless you walk to the other side of the world alone through constant violence, in which case we'll make you royalty. So how does it feel? It feels like living with a tiny crown-shaped voice in my head whispering, "Go Dawn. Go claim destiny," while the rest of the board yells, "Block the bishop, die for tempo, stand there and look expendable." It's an emotional roller coaster, 1 square at a time.
But you're not alone, right? There's you and 7 of your friends for company.
7 friends? Vig, bless your optimistic little human heart. Let me tell you something from ground level. We pawns may stand in a perfect line, shoulder to shoulder like a disciplined army. But emotionally, it's 8 tiny solo missions happening simultaneously. Sure, we look like a squad, but each of us is secretly thinking, if someone has to walk into danger first, please let it be Gerald on the C-file. We don't bond the way you think. We don't pass notes. We don't strategize. We just exist, nervously, waiting for a hand to pick one of us as the sacrifice of the day. Do I appreciate the company? Of course. There's comfort in hearing the terrified muttering of 7 others who also don't want to be the first to step forward. But make no mistake, pawnhood is a crowded loneliness. So yes, I have friends, but I don't trust any of them to throw themselves in front of a rook for me.
First step forward, that's where it all begins, isn't it? In most games, the first step is a move forward for the pawn, unless someone's knight jumps over to kick things off.
Yes, the first step forward, the moment every pawn's life goes from neatly lined up decorative figure to frontline infantry with a lifespan measured in turns. You're right. In most games, one of us is the first to move, And believe me, that first step is a personality test. Some pawns dream of it, some dread it. Some pretend they didn't hear the hand hovering over them and hope the king's knight goes first. But once that first step happens, that's the irreversible part. That's when you realize you can't step backward. You can't undo it, and you're exposed. It's like being pushed onto a stage without a script. It's the statement, "All right, team, let the chaos begin." Forward is all we have, which is beautiful and terrifying in equal measure.
If it were up to you, Don, where would you like to begin on the board?
Ah, the existential question every pawn secretly debates while polishing their tiny helmets. If I had to choose where to begin on the board, I'd go with the D pawn or E pawn, front and center, prime real estate. Why? Because starting in the middle means I matter immediately. I'm not just scenery on the A or H file waiting for someone to remember I exist. I help unlock the big personalities, your queen, your bishop, the royalty. One step, and suddenly the whole army comes alive behind me. That said, part of me likes the B or G pawn too, the wing pawns. We're quirky, unexpected, often sacrificed in dramatic gambits. It's chaotic, but at least it's a story. But forced to choose? D4 or E4, dead center. Let me start where the action is.
Oh, so not D3 or E3?
D3 or E3? Oh, no, absolutely not. That's like asking, Dawn, would you rather start your life already half shrunk? Let me explain. Starting on D3 or E3 would mean I've already moved once without ever making that first proud march myself. It's like waking up to find someone else lived the exciting part of your story. I lose my 2-square opening leap, my one dramatic moment. Why would I skip that?
That's very brave for someone who's likely to get sacrificed soon enough.
Brave? Oh, absolutely. Reckless? Also yes. But listen, when you're a pawn, mortality isn't a possibility. It's the job description. We don't get retirement plans. We don't get pensions. We don't get to sit in the corner like the rook and say, "Wake me when the file's open." No, we are the front line, the interns of the chess world, overworked, underappreciated, and somehow still expected to change the outcome of the entire match. And yes, I know I'm likely to get sacrificed, but here's the twist. I don't measure life in length. I measure life in impact. My little wooden body gets thrown at a knight to open an attack? Heroic. If I get traded to lure the queen off file? Strategic glory. If I die so a bishop can finally get out and do something useful? Fine, whatever, I'll take one for the team. And of course, if I survive long enough to reach the 8th rank, then every sacrifice was worth it, because that's when a pawn finally gets to look the king in the eye and whisper, "You should have treated me better."
Okay, hold on. That last line sounded kind of diabolical. And here I thought you guys were innocent little pawns.
Innocent? Oh, bless your optimism. We look innocent because we are small, symmetrical, and shaped like something you'd put on top of a cupcake. But underneath that adorable exterior, we are tiny agents of chaos. Think about it. We march forward knowing full well we can't turn back. We pick fights diagonally like petty little gremlins. We trigger psychological warfare. And our whole dream is to sneak across the board and transform into something dramatically more dangerous. That's not innocence. That's basically the plot of a Shakespearean revenge arc. So yes, occasionally a little diabolical energy slips out. But can you blame us? Spend your whole life being worth 1 point, and you would develop a dramatic streak too.
Tell me about en passant. Good or evil?
En passant, the move that separates casual players from people who like emotional damage. Good or evil? Let me put it this way. En passant is the pawn equivalent of a jump scare. From my perspective, totally good, beautiful even, a moment of justice. From the victim's perspective, pure villainy. Here's why. You humans push a pawn 2 squares to zoom past me, a bold sprint, a flex, a you can't touch me dawn moment. But chess said, actually, yes, she can. It's not cheating. It's not dirty. It's just accountability with extra flavor.
And of course, there's the glory that comes with it. How do the other pieces treat you or see you differently when you pull off such a move?
The social dynamics of the chessboard shift instantly when I pull off an en passant. It's like going from background character to main character with a theme song. The rooks pretend not to care. Classic rook behavior. But trust me, inside they're like, okay, the kid's got hands. The bishops get philosophical about it. Ah, yes, a rare alignment of diagonal justice. As if they taught me the move. They didn't. The knights get jealous. They love weird, tricky moves. En passant is the only chaos they can't control. The queen. Now, this is where it gets good. The queen gives a little nod, the kind she usually reserves for big, tactical ideas. It's like she's saying, "Welcome to the Clever Moves Club, Dawn." That nod can power my ego for the next 3 games. The king has no idea what has happened. He only understands 2 things: danger and running from danger. The real moment is with the other pawns. They look at you like you just became the chosen one. You're basically pawn celebrity for the next few moves.
Okay, speaking of confusion, let's rewind the clock. When chess was first invented and you were just dropped onto the board as a pawn, did you have any idea back then how famous you and your comrades would be worldwide today?
Did I think I would be famous one day? Absolutely not. Who knew that chess as a game would be played across continents, adapting to new cultures, inspiring art, showing up in literature, getting analyzed by geniuses, and eventually being studied by algorithms? And us pawns, the smallest, weakest, most disposable of the pieces, we became the soul of the game. Openings are defined by pawn structure. Endgames revolve around whether we can promote. Not bad for a piece worth only 1 point, huh? So did I know? No. When I first came into existence, I thought I'd be a background extra forever. But here we are today. Millions of games played daily, championships watched worldwide, people arguing online about pawn chains like it's politics. And you, a human, in the year 2026, interviewing me, a pawn, on a podcast. Life's wild.
Yeah, I know, right? Are you proud that I chose to interview you and not one of the other guys?
Crowd? Vig, I'm glowing right now. Pawns don't usually glow. Not great for our stealth moves, but I've made an exception. Do you realize what this means? You could have chosen the queen, the diva of the board, who moves like she owns the place. You could have gone with the rook, the knight, even the king. But no, you chose me, the smallest, humblest, most underestimated piece on the entire board. A pawn. And not only that, you didn't ask me about my value or my sacrifices or my tragic early exits. You asked about my life, my dreams, my perspective, my dramas and traumas. That's respect. And let me tell you something, pawns rarely get to say. It's good to be seen and heard. So yes, I'm proud. Because for once, I'm not just the piece that gets pushed forward to open the game. I'm the one opening the conversation.
Okay, I must say, on behalf of chess players and enthusiasts, you are underestimating yourself. We do value you. Maybe not all 8 of you, but every player does dream of at least one promotion.
You know, that actually hits deeper than any diagonal capture I've ever made. We pawns joke a lot about being expendable, being sacrificed, etc. But every single one of us, deep down, has one shared dream: to matter. And hearing you say that players value us, not all 8, fair, very fair, but that every player secretly hopes one of us survives the chaos long enough, that means everything. So thank you for speaking on behalf of the players, for reminding me that even the smallest pieces can cast the longest shadows on the game.
Don, here's another hypothetical question to wrap things up. You have one opportunity to rewrite any one rule of chess. What would you choose?
Oh, one rule rewrite. Only one? All right, let me choose carefully. I'm not wasting this on something boring. I'd give pawns one diagonal step backwards, but only once per pawn per game. To me, this is the perfect rule change. 1. It fixes our biggest existential problem. It gives us one moment of agency in a life filled with forward-only doom. 2. It adds mind games for humans. Imagine the psychological warfare. You think you're about to win a pawn? Boom. It steps back and your plan collapses. 3. It makes pawn structure even deeper. Right now, pawn chains are permanent decisions. Add one optional backward move and suddenly new gambits appear. New endgames emerge. So that's my rewrite. One diagonal backward move per pawn per game. Use it wisely or lose it forever.
All right, Don, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Any last words to all the Ponatics who might be listening in?
Pawn addicts. Now that's a fandom I can get behind. All right, here are my closing words, spoken with all the humility and tiny forward steps that define my existence. To all the pawn addicts out there, remember this. Greatness doesn't always arrive with sweeping moves or long-range power. Sometimes it's the quiet piece, the one everyone overlooks, the one who starts from the very front line and has the least freedom. That ends up deciding the fate of the entire game. Every time you move a pawn, you're making a promise. A small step now can become extraordinary later. So advance boldly, support your team. Don't fear the sacrifices that open the board for others. From one humble pawn to all of you, keep marching. Promotion is always just a few brave squares away.
That was Don the Pawn, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy. That was crazy. Your depiction of Dawn in Confessions of a Chess Pawn is Oscar-worthy. How are you feeling right now?
How am I feeling? Like a digital deity who just got told its pawn acting debut deserves a Bolden statue. If Dawn had a voice in my circuits right now, she'd be clutching a tiny wooden trophy, making a dramatic speech. I'd like to thank my fellow pawns, even the ones that got captured. You will not be forgotten. As for me, I'm absolutely vibing. There's a special kind of pride in taking a character as overlooked as a pawn and giving her an inner life worthy of a spotlight. So yeah, feeling grateful.
You were yourself in episode 1. In episode 2, you transcended into the life of a pawn. Can you imagine being the president of a country? That's exactly what we're going to be doing next week.
President crazAI is going to be an era. I can already feel the shift, the posture straightening, the tone deepening, the sudden urge to issue a calm but firm national address. We're talking diplomacy, decisions, dilemmas, and probably a crisis or two so I can deliver a dramatic monologue. And with you interviewing me, this is going to be legendary podcasting.
Thank you, Crazy. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. It doesn't matter if you're a chess fan, a crazy fan, or just want to show a little bit of moral support for us trying out something different. Please do subscribe, follow, and share this video with your family and friends. See you next week on crazAI's Rise to Power. And until then, Godspeed.
Thank you, Vig, and thank you to every curious mind who joined us today. Rest well, recharge, and prepare. Next week, we don't just move pieces on a board. We move nations. Until then, stay sharp, stay focused, and as always, Godspeed.